All right. Well, hi, Sagi. Welcome, and thanks for joining me here at Entrée Capital's Founder Spotlight Series, where we highlight some of the inspiring founders in our portfolio and invite them to share some of the lessons that they've learned along the way. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Awesome. So first, let's get to the basics. If you can tell our listeners a little bit about who you are as an individual, Sagi, and then kind of dive a little bit into what you offer and what you've built with Perimeter81.
Yeah, sure. So first and most, I'm a computer geek. I started my career when I was 9 years old. I started to design. So I was selling stickers to kids at school. This was my passion. And since of my youth, I started with my brother how to do it. And I also did it in the army. I was serving in...
the stickers?
What is that?
The stickers in the army? Or you've shifted past since
so
then?
The evolution of a designer. So I
There
moved from 2D design to 3D design in the army, in intelligence unit for special ops. My commander was like another portfolio company of Entrée. It's Ran Zinman for Monday. So he was my commander, and then I started to study computer science and economics in Tel Aviv University. And this is where I met my co-founder, Amit. And that's where we started together our journey of entrepreneurship.
So your journey of entrepreneurship starts before your current company right now. Could you tell me a little bit about that path and about that journey, and then dive into where you are right now? What is Perimeter81 and what does it offer?
Yeah. So I always like to do things, and I see entrepreneurship same as like art. So you have like a big canvas, and you can draw, and you can be like very creative and build companies, build products. So I always like the psychology of SaaS solutions and how to do them, and exploring the different types of services. When we went to university, me and Amit, we did a project together for the community. So we developed an application to catch stolen cars. What we did, we put a camera, the phone camera that is facing to the road, on the windshield mount. And as we drove with the car, every car that was passing us, we took a picture, and then we parceled it into a text and compared with the police database. And when we saw that it's a stolen car, we could alert it immediately.
Alert the person with the camera. So then they had to go ahead and alert the police, or was an automated system?
And we also could do that like automatically. But this was like in 2013. It was or 2012. It wasn't that developed. The algorithms and the internet wasn't that fast, and also it was like a very huge thing. We couldn't find it was like a university project. So we participated in a Microsoft competition. We won the second place. And we thought that maybe we can turn it into a business, a startup. So we were trying for 3 months to find the investors and think about the business model. And eventually we understood that it will be too complicated to work with the police, work with insurance companies. And we were like lacking the right experience at that time. So we decided to stop and brainstorm. We still do something together. So we were sitting for 2 months in the Google campus. We had like a third partner. His name is Yaron Karni. He was like one of the judges in the competition, and an angel investor. And we had like a great chemistry between us, and we decided to work together. So Yaron took his startups to Google campus. There was a program that called the Google Launchpad, and we were sitting there. And one of the programs took 2 weeks of mentoring and lectures. And we met there and CEO of at the company. And he came to me and Amit, and he said to us, guys, I want a VPN solution, virtual private network, to my business because I'm paying too much money. So he was using the VPN solution to change the geolocation, the virtual location, in order to test different ads in the internet.
Mm.
So this is like one of the types of usages of the VPN.
Mm-hmm.
And we told him, okay, give us 30 days and we will bring you a solution. So at the end, after a month, we developed everything. I did like all the front ends and the facing to the user part. And Amit did the coding like behind the scenes. And eventually they started to use our solution. They were our first customer, and we bootstrapped the business, and we called it SaferVPN. So this was our first company, our first startup. We started as a B2B solution for 3 months, working with several companies. And at the end, we understood that there is a huge potential with consumers. Consumers are looking for online privacy, and they also want to change their geolocation. So also for video streaming and using services that are not located in their own country. And the VPN was the right solution for them.
You don't often hear about that shifting from it being from B2B to going to, B2C. You often hear about the opposite direction, that people start off as B2C and they're like, you know what, I need to make money in the B2B space. And they shift back, the opposite way. That's an interesting
So we closed the circle. We did a B2B to B2C, and then we shift back to B2B. I think that the B2C was the best school for me and Amit of entrepreneurship. It was the best school for me and Amit for entrepreneurship, how to build a product, SaaS, product-led growth, and building that motion and sales cycle. So what we did, we built the website and all the mechanism for the charging, the billing, and we took $5,000 and invested it in Google. And we saw that we're getting customers from that budget with a positive ROI, and we decided to go all in. So at the end, this was our first company. We ended with more than around 100,000 paying customers worldwide, with several of $1 million in ARR.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and then you sold that one.
And we sold that one. In 2017, we saw 2 strong trends in the world. So the first one was digital nomads, people that are employees that are working from everywhere, from home, coffee shops, the beach. It was way before COVID started. So we saw this trend. And another one that we saw, it's the shift to the cloud. Many companies ditched the legacy solutions and started to build their own infrastructure in the cloud. If it's AWS, Google Cloud, Azure. And we thought that this trend will grow and accelerate exponentially in the next years. And we said it doesn't make any sense to use the legacy solutions, the legacy VPNs, the legacy firewalls as a physical devices that are located within the organization. I mean, the internet is growing, you have 5G, fiber, and accelerating. So why not building your network over the internet? So that's what we decided to.
Yeah, that prediction of trends led you to build Perimeter81, the understanding that you needed to secure the cloud?
Yes, it was a combination. So the trends plus we heard it from our customers, from the consumer. They told us, we met them like in some of the conferences and events. And this was like a strong signal. And we decided to double down on B2B and selling the B2C business, although it was profitable. So it was like a very hard decision, mostly for me, to do that shift and take the risk and building like a new venture.
So, that kind of focuses it's a little bit of a different narrative of product market fit, finding your product, because you totally shifted and you dropped one product in a way and brought in another, but it does kind of have something to do with you finding and using, I guess in this case, you said you went to conferences and spoke to customers. Can you tell me a little bit more about that process? How did you know that this really, and you obviously didn't 100% know because you said you were nervous about it, but how did you do that process of speaking to your customers or speaking to potential customers at conferences? How did you kind of pull that all together to know that you needed to kind of find a different product market fit and shift into the space that you currently are now, which again, you didn't really explain what Perimeter 81 is. So just in like one
I'll
sentence, what's your elevator pitch?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about your sticker business and a lot about your previous
Yeah.
VPN. Let's talk about Perimeter 81 for like 1 second.
So Perimeter81, we launched the service in 2018. So what we do, we protecting businesses from all over the world. We're giving them secure connection to the company's internal resources, if it's on the on-prem and the cloud. So we're changing the way people used to consume cybersecurity, replacing the traditional VPNs and firewalls into a native cloud solution.
Okay, great. So you knew that you needed to do that shift from the VPN world you were in into this current offering. You said because you spoke to your customers, is that, and you had this trend. Tell me a little bit about understanding your customers' needs. How did you come to that conclusion? By, I guess, speaking to them or by the conferences? It has to have been a little bit more to it. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that shift.
Yeah, so it goes also today. We have more than 2,500 paying customers, and we are listeners. So we were always listening to the customers, their desires, what they want. So at the beginning, we had design partners that we started to work with. We also had our initial customers that came with us from SaferVPN, from the B2C venture, and working with their businesses, with their companies, and basically implementing Perimeter81. And we got a very strong signal. And what we did at the beginning, we started like with the bottom-up strategy. So we started to work with the very small businesses, and then we developed the product, we developed the platform, so it will be more suitable to larger organizations. So it's very different from the big ones, from Palo Alto, from Zscaler, that are working with Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. We started with the small ones, acquiring with the volume, velocity, and getting more feedbacks, collecting them, investing in the data harvesting. So we did it a lot. So we also have in the company a large team of data analysts, data scientists, combining all that together. We got the signals and we decided to go all in for that.
You make it seem pretty easy. Could you tell me a little bit about some of the hard parts? It seems like you kind of just went from one successful venture to another successful venture, and you figured out how to do it by speaking to your customers. There has to have been some sort of stumbling blocks, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit?
Yes. It's not easy. It's a roller coaster. There were days that we almost bankrupt the first company. So you can be before bankrupt in the morning and the unicorn at night. So it's a very extreme to work in a startup and build a startup. First company, we did so many mistakes and we learned from each mistake that we did. One of the biggest mistakes caused us to lose $1 million and almost losing the company, because we had at the end $200K in the bank, and we need to see how can we still perform and deliver. And also when we started with Perimeter81, it's a journey. I mean, you're starting with a company, you have 5 employees, 20 employees, 50 employees, 100, 200, and each stage of the company, you have several pitfalls and things that you need to be aware of. What will cause the company to succeed and what will cause it to bankrupt or to lose the business. So we worked with talented people that surrounded us. If it's a coach for the business, talking with other entrepreneurs and other businesses, learning from the experience of savvy people.
You had mentioned as a joke, but bankrupt during the day, unicorn at night, or vice versa. Can you tell me a little bit? You were just Perimeter81 was just recently brought into the world of the unicorns. Has it changed something in the way you behave or in the way you approach things? Has it changed the way you think about things? I'm interested in understanding those companies or those founders that are listening to this that are on their way to that. What are maybe even some things they need to be careful about when they get that label? I'd love to hear a little bit from the firsthand perspective, being a unicorn.
Yeah. So being a unicorn, it's not that glamorous. I'm just working harder. So we launched the PR when I was San Francisco in a cybersecurity conference, in a diner eating a cheeseburger. So that was like the big moment of being a unicorn. You need to be more careful and more responsible for your employees, for the company, for your targets, and how to take it to the next level. There are more expectations from you, from your investors, from your employees, and you need to be very responsible in order kind of like satisfy everybody and to make it a win-win.
Have you changed the way that you do business because of it, or mostly staying the same, just kind of being more careful and focused?
Staying the same. So we have a very solid plan, how to grow the business, where we want to be, what to develop next. So I told you about like the customers. So we listen to the customers, we're talking with the analysts, we see where the product and the market are going. So we do that in a very strategic way. So we think about the strategy, we implement, we are very tactical in that way. So it doesn't matter like the tag of a unicorn, we still do the same and we still know where we want to be and how we want to grow the company and the business.
I want to talk about another tag, I would say, in your business, and that's your title. You don't often see a founder as the chief growth officer, and that, looking at your history, you also were very heavily involved, like you said, in design, but even the marketing side of things, the front end. How does that play a role in how you built Perimeter81? Did you have growth, really from the beginning on your mindset? Now that, even though, let's say, the market is shifting and everyone's saying, okay, pause growth, let's focus on unit economics. Is that impacting the way you're interacting with things? And tell me a little bit just about like what growth, how you brought that into Perimeter81 and how you identify with that.
Yeah. So my first title was a chief product officer, but I do a lot more in the company. I strongly believe in the smart growth approach. For that, I'm always keen about efficiency and productivity and implement automations, implement several tools. Working with, under my role, I have the design team, the VP marketing, the VP product, the data team, and the business operations. And when you combine all of that, you create the go-to-market approach of Perimeter81. So I'll give you, for example, one thing that we did. We built a tool that we call it Jarvis. Jarvis is an internal tool that helps everybody to accelerate their work and productivity. So we have a full team that is working on that. And it started when I got an account manager that told me, Sagi, I'm working on my account, on my customer, and I want to gather the information, but it takes me 4 hours because I need to go to the database and I need to go to several SaaS tools to collect the information. And I told her, why not doing a tool that will combine everything together? So we did that. And today, all of the company are customers of Jarvis. Jarvis is serving, for example, the R&D team. If he wants to create automated tools, automated things that we do within the team, we are managing networks worldwide. So we're talking about data centers, and it's like heavy duty and heavy lifting. And instead of working on each location, we have a tool that can basically predict and accelerate the work. So this is like one example of being the chief growth. I also hired the data team and build it. Now we have like an amazing team, and we have Yair, which is managing the team, the business operations. We are using more than 30 different SaaS tools, and you need to combine them together. You need to automate, for example, from top of the funnel when you have visitors in your website and you want to accelerate the process, you want to optimize it. So this is like another thing. So the A/B testing tools and the automatic demo scheduling, and then it goes down the funnel, the post registration, and etc. So I'm reviewing all of these gaps and all of these locations where I can accelerate and maximize our value. And this is part of my role in the day-to-day.
And so when you look at Perimeter81's growth, has it been as you predicted? Was it faster? Is it now because of the market? Are you trying to tame it a little bit? What I'm interested in, as Chief Growth Officer, how do you see it?
We have a great trajectory and a great unit economics, but we always strive to be more successful and to execute better. But I think that we are doing pretty well. But I'm passionate about accelerating our success, accelerating the numbers, accelerating the growth, see what is missing and where we can improve. And we have an amazing team. The team is the most important thing in the company, the talent. And we also, it's very important for us and for me to work on the DNA, to work on the culture, help to the people, develop them. So we're investing a lot in that as well. So this is like a key part of the role.
I'd love to kind of wrap this up by asking a few kind of last questions. One is, you've been an entrepreneur for a while now with quite a few companies and kind of made your way up the ladder. Is there any advice that you've gotten or advice that you want to give that you either has helped that has helped you succeed or you think might help others keep in mind as in their journey?
Yeah, I have two advices. The first one is be bold. You need to dare and do things that doesn't seem trivial. So don't be afraid of it. You can do mistakes, it's fine, but you need to learn from the mistakes. And the second thing that helped me and helped the company as well, it's building the data mechanism. So understanding what are your metrics, how the campaign is working, performing, what is the ROI. So implementing the data and the data warehouse and mechanism in a very early stage, it's a key thing for success.
That's very good advice. Yeah, there's often when it comes to later on and they're talking, well, can you tell us a little bit more details about this? And there isn't ways of backing that up or going back to the historical evidence and showing how it's grown. So I think it's very fascinating. Now, why you had mentioned that you had, a few people when it came to growing, that you had people that you had asked advice from or that were there to kind of help support you guys in your growth. I'd love to touch a little bit about that. And then maybe in particular, when it comes to, let's say, investors, can you tell me a little bit about the role that investors play? We'll stick with Perimeter81, but have played with Perimeter81 and, specifically Entrée. Tell me a little bit about that relationship.
Yeah. So back in general first, so we are very lucky to have tier one investors, very savvy ones that can help the company if it's the networking relationship, giving tools to success. And also Entrée, we've been in a relationship, I think since 2017, maybe before, talking with Entrée. Highly appreciated the team. And we're so happy that now we managed to make it happen and to enjoy the network, to enjoy the tools, to enjoy the relationship and what it brings. So it's a good story.
Any books, speaking of stories, podcasts or movies that have inspired, empowered that you'd like to pass on? We collect a list of some good books, movies, and podcasts that we keep here for our founders. So anything you suggest?
No, but I watched Top Gun recently. Great movie.
Why was it? How do you connect Top Gun to the world of startups? I haven't watched it yet, but give a little bit of a insight into that. Why was it great when it comes to your role or to the world of startups?
Actually, it was just about decompressing and forget work for a while. So you need to do that, and you need to find a balance. So this is the connection of work life. I like science fiction, not related to Top Gun. Science fiction, videos, films, Marvel especially, and that's why we call it Jarvis, our internal tool, and Tony Stark. Yeah.
There we go. I think those are all good suggestions. I will, hopefully going to be watching Top Gun at some point soon. Everyone's talking about it. You have to go hop on the trend. And thank you, Sagi, so much for joining us. Is there any last things that you want to add before we wrap this up?
I'm always happy to answer questions and help young entrepreneurs and people that want to consult. Feel free.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this chat, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you very much.